what do you do? I'm trying to recall, and I know what the other people do in the group, so I'd love to hear just a quick update. What do you do, and what kind of business are you running?
So I run a live production company. So we do live events, staging, lighting, sound, projectors, galas, that kind of concerts.
How has business been? How the whole COVID-19? How have things dropped?
Yeah, so there's negatroth on the future of most of what we're doing. So basically last week with the government dropping the F word with festivals being canceled for the summer, a lot of our stuff is really just totally dried up. And so that's our boat.
Okay. That's going to be a really interesting one that I'd love to actually tear into a little bit. So what we've done before, thank you so much for joining. I'm not sure who the last person is, but I'd love to figure that out. But what we've done before is actually almost taken a live view of someone's business and to see what can we do. Not only what can we apply from what we know, and then also inform the group and get some feedback instantly as to, okay, what can potentially work and what is there actually a need for. So if you're open to it, I'd love to use you as the person, as the case study, if you're okay with it.
Have at her.
Yes, perfect. Hello, new person, how are you? There we go. Hi, new person, can you hear us?
Hi, I can, yes, thank you. Sorry, I was getting children set up and
For those working from home right now, it's a brand new reality. I didn't catch your name, sorry.
Carly Wiebe.
Carly Wiebe. What's your business? What do you do?
I have two, but my main focus is Eternal Timber and Design. So we build custom furniture. I say we, my husband, and his shop staff. And so I thought this was interesting and relevant for, we've been affected by what's happening right now and trying to, learn more.
What kind of drop have you seen?
We more in the communication. So our emails have slowed down for custom work. Just in general, we used to have a lot of people kind of walk in from other businesses near us, and so we've closed down that location, and so that's now we've lost sort of the walk-ins. People still find us online, but I don't know if people want to be spending money right now, or people are
Okay, I have some really interesting insights that I've managed to find that I want to share with you guys, because I think they'll apply very directly to both your business and Nico's business. So let me get into things right away, and then we can potentially figure out what I mentioned as to what we've been doing here on Mondays is trying to figure out what can we do to help businesses that have joined to understand what's happening, what's changing, and what can we do to right in the session to actually go through and suggest a number of things that you guys can do right away, and then get feedback from everybody else in the group as to verifying whether this would work and whether this would actually potentially help what's happening. And Amanda, welcome. Thank you. There we go. All right. Let me know when you guys can see my screen. There we go. And I'll open up the chat as well, just in case anyone wants to just throw some comments into the chat. By all means, please do. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah, the screen looks good.
Perfect. All right. So I've retitled this just marketing steps in an economic crisis, because there's a ton of stuff that's happening. There's also a lot of noise, and I wanted to preempt everything else that I'm going to say with there's a lot of noise. Just people are talking, and here's my opinion, here's what I think, here's what other people think, here's what thought leaders think. There's a lot of noise out there and not a lot of tangible instruction on what businesses can do. So I'm not going to go into much of that. I actually just want to get directly into what is happening and what we can do as a result. So let's just go through it and then figure out how we can actually execute. So just a brief introduction, where we're looking, understanding consumer behavior. So some of this will just be kind of a repivot of the information that we presented before. But as I mentioned, there's a ton of noise. And ultimately, we should be listening to isn't necessarily people like me on Zoom calls. It's actually people who are your clients. Your clients are trying to find you, or trying to find services that you may be able to offer if you readjust your offering ever so slightly. We just need to figure out what it is, what kind of clients, what the clients are looking for, and what it is that we can present to them to convince them that, hey, this is actually now a safe service or product that I can get, or maybe I can use some of your equipment or services in a way that does help still drive revenue and give them a benefit. If at any point anyone has any questions about what I'm saying, please chime in. I want this to be more of a discussion than a podium kind of conversation, because I'd far rather be helping as much as I can. I think there's a lot of doom and gloom that people were concerned about, but there are a couple things that I want to draw your attention to that are just like unbelievably interesting and informative. First, April 16th was a huge day in e-commerce. So it's not surprising that a lot of services, like hands-on services, are struggling. There are opportunities, and we shared some examples before, but if there's an opportunity to move some of your offerings into an e-commerce space, April 16th was massive for e-commerce, like absolutely massive. And I'll show you guys a chart in just a second. 2, average daily sales in April are actually up over 80%, up over 80% over January. So there's a huge opportunity that we can actually find these kinds of opportunities. We just need to understand how to classify ourselves or how to present our products as essential. So if we're a luxury item, if we're not something that people need in a way that they can justify to themselves, they simply won't spend. One of the businesses that we work with and that we helped is a florist. And of all of the disposable income things that you'd expect people to cut, flowers are probably near the top of that list. Yet, after they were actually on the very first session, their sales are now up. As of Thursday or Friday, their sales were actually up over April of last year. So they were the same as April of last year, and now every other day is going to be higher than that. So they don't qualify for the subsidy, but boo-hoo, they actually are making a ton of money because they've pivoted and are now presenting their products and services in a way that people will actually buy them and order them and justify to themselves that, yeah, these are actually essential. What I mentioned about April 16th being a huge e-commerce day, this was information from Klaviyo. We're constantly looking at what kind of information is useful and what can we find useful. So these are the sales of new essentials, non-essentials. So you can see, like, there isn't a drop, not the kind that we were actually expecting. So we just need to figure out, why is this happening? Any guesses? Why is April 16th a special day?
The CERB came in, government support. People had some money to spend.
100%. So the thing that's happening is the thing that we've seen for every other buying cycle ever. When do bars typically do best? When people get paid. When do businesses typically do best? Why do some businesses, especially large purchase businesses, do really well in April and May? Is it because of summer, or is it because their tax refunds are coming back in?
Yeah.
People are feeling disposable income and they're spending it. They're also not feeling as panicked as we expected them to feel. Some are, but in Canada, I think we're overwhelmingly feeling pretty good, and we're starting to plan for the future. We just need to be assured that we're doing the right thing. So I think that was really interesting. So the daily sales average daily sales up for 39% just from March. And then April or January was much higher still. So some really positive cues. I just wanted to look at essential categories. This was for March the 15th. everyone expected sales to dip and there was a ton of fear. That's not exactly what happened. The amount that sales actually went up, let me see if I can draw on this here. Here we go. There we go. So this is what, can you guys see me? There we go. I hope you can. Here's what, like, people expected, COVID hit. Everyone expected sales to go down. This is actually what ended up happening. Here's the trend. And this is quote unquote an essential, like, apparel. Do we really need more clothes while sitting at home?
Oh yeah.
It's retail therapy.
Retail therapy. I see someone shaking their head. A couple people shaking their heads there, right? Like, it's from what we know about consumer behavior. This shouldn't be happening, but it is, because if we really take a look at what's happening, what people are prioritizing, and what they're doing with their disposable income, yeah, it's not a surprise. So in a previous session, we went through and actually made a list. Here are the things that you should be doing. So learn to use Instagram and Facebook Live events. Nico, maybe this is actually a question for you specifically. Is there an opportunity for you to take some of your equipment and give it to people so they can actually do those kinds of events from home or wherever?
Yes, and the answer is yes.
Okay. Have you gone down that route yet? What is your website, out of curiosity?
nhpav.com.
nhpav.com. Okay. Well, if you're okay with us pulling that up in a little bit, I'd love to actually kind of go through some of these recommendations and make a list. What about you, Carly? What things have you guys pursued, or what things have you entertained in the, like, as this is all happening?
So one of the things is really pursuing the live stream idea, more on that side. And there's been some cool talks about that. Even so, for example, galas, there's the stay-at-home gala that happened in March. And so there's some specific galas that are now getting creative with, dressing up and being at home and
perfect. Would the equipment that you have be useful for thought leaders who are running these kinds of events?
Yeah. Yes.
Do they know that it's accessible through you?
The live streaming thing is something that we haven't pushed in the past, but that's definitely something now more that that we're starting to push a little bit more, because before it was more of a default, like an add-on to a live event. Hey, do you want to stream this out as well?
Yeah.
I'll do the live event. Now it's just a standalone thing.
Perfect. Okay.
And so now it's kind of like those Zoom. You just need to be a Zoom expert, and you're up and running with.
I think that takes an entire 15 minutes to familiarize oneself with Zoom, and then you're effectively a Zoom expert, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, unless you're doing something really big and trying to coordinate a lot of things and on your screen and have things timed really well. It's yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So have you is any of that information on your Facebook that you guys do this, on your Instagram, on your homepage?
It would be on it's kind of throughout our feed. We don't spend a lot of time actually marketing, like blasting out what, it's more of showing what we do. Live streaming is a very, very small, like 2% of what we do.
What you did before COVID?
Sorry, yeah, that's pre-COVID.
Right. So yeah, I think there's push. I'm not trying to give you an excessively hard time, but my follow-up question, which may be a little excessive, is what are you waiting for?
Right.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question.
Perfect. Okay. In that case, Carly, if I could ask you, okay, what have you guys tried, and have you explored any of the social media avenues yet?
So for us, we haven't done much different We're still sort of posting the nice, soft, beautiful furniture, or, we're not very aggressive in our marketing or advertising. So,
Why?
yeah. I have some really good ideas. But my husband is the heart and soul of the business, and he's very uncomfortable, being that person. And I think it needs to be him.
Okay.
I could be wrong. We have someone else in the shop that, it could be her as well, but,
does it have to be a person if you're selling furniture?
No, absolutely not.
Could it just be the furniture?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That removes the need. I just want to try to remove any kind of hurdles from this. Okay. So I'm going to ask a question to Michelle, to Nick, to Amanda. There are a couple other people who have joined in as well. Okay. I'll ask specifically about Carly's business. Who here has spent so much time at home and is now considering upgrading their deck, upgrading their furniture, or changing something out because they're forced to spend more time? Or what other ideas could you potentially give to Carly right now where it's like, yeah, this is where I could use custom made furniture?
For sure. I'm spending a lot of time looking into housewares right now, trying to make my home environment more comfortable in the place that I'm at. And it's actually a bit of a challenge shopping online, mostly because things don't come as fast as I want them to. And I support local if I could. So it would actually be nice to know about more local furniture options.
Perfect. Okay. Nick, any insights?
Yeah, I think that specifically with my life, as far as parenting goes, there's a lot more time spent around the table, because before it was like breakfast and dinner. Now it's all the meals, all the kids' schoolwork. It's a place where things get done. And so personally, we're finding our kitchen table is a bit smaller than we need it to be sometimes, or we need new chairs specifically because all the shuffling around is wearing some of these old chairs out. And, that's a good example of, like was said, we're spending more time at home. And so the furniture that we have, we're seeing more wear and tear on it.
Okay. So Carly, just out of curiosity, how much capacity do you have, like productive capacity right now, where you could start producing some of these items that people are looking for?
Yeah, we have a lot of jobs on the go, but the turnaround time would be for a custom piece would be kind of 3 to 4 weeks, maybe even less, depending on the finish of it. So, that's almost at par with, things that you can purchase online. I just was on Amazon, buying something little, but, it's not coming tomorrow, it's coming 2 weeks from now. So I think that, those are all thank you very much for sharing that. I wrote down some I might quote you guys.
Oh, please. Absolutely. And the reason why we're doing this is to help one another to kind of verify some of these ideas and actually get feedback as to what can we do right away.
Yeah.
Because getting help with this 3 months from now is useless.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to converge the two, kind of like both Nico's and Carly's business. Like, here are now people forced to work from home. Or forced to reevaluate their space, forced to be more public. I feel like, Nico, is there some opportunity for even like cross promoting with other businesses where it's like, hey, here's what we do, and here's why maybe a custom setup or a custom table will work well, or here's the perfect setup for your kitchen table. Here's the perfect setup for your bedroom. That will still allow you to work and not look like you're in a bedroom or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like here's the rental package, or maybe there's some sort of rental package opportunity. Amanda, I've always liked to hear from your suggestions. I'm not sure if you have anything that you could come up with here.
There we go. Sorry. In regards to furniture?
Or so Nico runs NHP AV, so like audiovisual equipment. So anything that's like, okay, where can he pivot his business, or what products or services could he be offering, because events have all but dried up and we don't know when they're coming back?
Yeah. I don't know. I think definitely for furniture, like for sure right now it's like slowly coming into patio season and everything. And as well as I noticed, with a lot of people working from home, even the people that live like in our basement suite, we just led them like one of our desks because she's a teacher and she has to work from home right now, and she's trying to set up her own workspace. Like she was working on our kitchen table, which was fine, but she's like, I don't feel like this is a comfortable space for me. Yeah. And so she ended up redoing her bedroom, and we gave her a desk to work with downstairs, and now she feels just more like, I don't know, happy and focused and comfortable. And yeah, same with patios. A lot of people that I know, they are, every time I talk to them, they're kind of like wanting to go outside, but they're really obeying like the whole quarantine thing and not like walking down where the parks are busy and everything, but they feel very claustrophobic. So, and then for like AV equipment, I'm not sure. I would maybe offer it, like try and see if you can reach out to some businesses that are shut down and wanting to like really boost their online presence in a more professional way, like from a distance or something. Do you have a drone?
We don't, we in-house, but video isn't really our big thing.
Oh, okay. It's audio.
Ours is, yeah. So we work with other contractors, or we'll bring people in, or photographers or videographers for larger events.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So Nico, so as far as like, what kind of equipment do you guys currently have that you'd want to see used? Is it like, is it projectors? Is it like audio? What exactly is it?
Yeah, so we have, projectors, screens, speakers, staging, lighting. So a lot of that is sort of is really for crowds, larger events. The video side is more of an add-on. So for example, one thing we're looking to do is actually this week we're looking to do kind of a rental drive-in deal. So we have a 23-foot by 13-foot inflatable screen, outdoor movie screen. But so we went to the local theaters to see if we can partner with them.
Perfect.
Project it, but there's all kinds of, kind of be sensitive to what's allowed, or what's kind of, yeah, what's allowed and what's frowned upon. But if you do it in neighborhoods, if you've got a bunch of people that still have some money at a cul-de-sac, that don't mind getting 10 neighbors together or something that can safely social distance, back up their trucks, and you set them up in the back. Now for a special COVID pricing, you could do, that's something that we might be able to do, and just started kind of.
I love that idea, and I wonder if there's like for apartments, or like if you can set up on one side, just here's the screen, everyone does almost like a drive-in movie theater kind of experience, like almost like a concert. I don't know, maybe there's some opportunity there. Okay, very cool.
I mentioned some gray areas that are going on in the wedding industry that might be relevant to this discussion. There's a lot of people out there right now that are talking about how to sort of interpret the rules of what's going on. And I'm part of a wedding package that's putting out like a caterer, a photographer, a small party with cocktails and food for under 30 people, with sanitized stations, with guaranteed masks, with social distancing. And it's kind of, I feel, ethically questionable almost. Like, should I really be promoting this right now? And a lot of those questions are starting to come up while things are in sort of a gray area. Like, can we have weddings and events with less than 30 people? And if I support that, is that really socially responsible?
So I feel like a lot of these questions, I think we're held up, and I think a lot of people are agonizing about what is responsible, what isn't responsible. There's a lot of unknowns, and I think this is where the guidance comes in. Like, we're given rules that we need to follow, and then our interpretation is like, okay, let's. So you're right. There's a lot of unknowns, but what can we do best, knowing that people will continue to do some of these things? I think there's an opportunity to actually help them do it better or as well as they can. And then almost like, here's kind of what I'm thinking as you're talking about weddings. If you had a massive screen that actually allowed people to distance themselves, instead of being cramped into a small venue, like a little chapel of some sort, we'll let them be further out, 6 feet apart from everybody else, and still see the groom and the bride doing their thing.
There's some creative opportunities to be had there right now for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm hoping that some businesses actually take advantage of these. Yeah. Anyway, so yes. Carly, I had a question for you. I'm not sure if you can still hear me. Just as far as,
I'm here.
Perfect. Do you do any patio furniture?
Outdoor furniture is a tough one. The Okanagan is very harsh. And so if the right setting, so the patio needs to be covered, and then, it just lasts longer. So we can do patio furniture, but it has to be the right setting.
Do you have a website? Do you have a business? What's the business name?
eternaltimber.com.
Okay. So what I want to do is just go back to the presentation and go through some of the previous recommendations to see what can we put up. So I grilled both Carly and Nico. So thank you so much for not leaving and letting this continue. But I'd love to just go through them, and then we'll make a list afterwards as the next steps, maybe the 3 or 5 steps every business should be doing right now to actually get in front of their audience in the right way. Mm-hmm. So there we go. So we just learn how to use Instagram and Facebook Live events, move your business online. I mentioned digital is not scary. Actually getting out there and trying things. This is a great opportunity. If you're seeing more time on your hands, trying these things to see what sticks or what works could be a really good opportunity. One of the recommendations is do not use the same COVID-19 email template everyone is using. I've seen this recommendation now in a lot of places. If your message isn't adding value to someone, just don't do it. Do it in a way that is relevant to your business. I'm not sure who Fancy Pants is, but I'm going to mute your microphone just because I feel like there's some feedback happening. There we go. Use language and imagery that captures attention. I think this is across the board. So Carly, as we started talking about we're thinking about people are staying at home, thinking about different kitchen tables, different bedroom setups, different patio setups. Is any of your public facing material relevant to what people are searching for now? Have you updated any of it to be more in line with what people are more likely to buy now? And no is a perfectly okay answer. And I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm just wondering.
With regards to social media, and it's more of if I find a nice image or I come across something, I'm like, oh, I want to share this. So there's not a lot of thought put into it. It's sort of consistent. Like our Instagram page is, pretty to look at. It's not really targeted or.
How many Instagram followers do you have, if you mind me asking?
I think 10,000.
Okay. I won't give you the sassy follow-up question. Is it working? Cool. You're doing okay.
Yeah. Let me go on there now, I guess. I think it's quite a bit. I've been told that's a pretty decent following. Mm-hmm. But I don't find that our customers are not there. The people who are physically buying from us, they're not found on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay.
But it's nice to be relevant.
No, that's fair. There's a slide that I'll jump to in just a few moments, but it's going to be about what the digital funnel, what the funnel looks like.
Okay.
Instagram isn't necessarily the be all end all, much like Facebook or your website or really any single piece. Mm-hmm. It all feeds in, and you have to figure out what to do with that awareness and that traffic. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Give people something to do. One of the clients, so Passionate Blooms on the west side, that's the one that I mentioned did really, really well. They started creating, it was actually Amanda's suggestion, and it was doing live Zoom call or live Facebook or live Zoom calls with plant auctions. So not only educating people, but also giving them auctions. There's so much I don't know about furniture, and there's a hell of a lot I don't know about audiovisual equipment that I'd love to learn to make sure my stuff looks better. So is there some sort of opportunity to get out there educate the audience and say, okay, here's the difference between this kind of microphone, this kind of setup, this kind of camera, or this kind of presentation, whatever. Much like, here's why you wouldn't want specific kinds of furniture unless your deck is covered, kind of a thing, right? There you go. So suggestions were make your own flatbed, connect people and businesses. So part of why we're doing this is also to provide our clients and potentially new relationships a venue to connect with one another. So as altruistic as this seems, there is this opportunity to also gain business from things like this. Create how-to videos, make your own favorite drink, dinner items. We're talking about restaurant items. Like, here's how to maintain, and this is maybe where thinking about your core business. So Carly specifically, here's like, if it's wood furniture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's how to maintain your wood furniture, because now you're stuck staring at your weathered furniture, right?
Yeah.
Or here is how to treat whatever else. There's a whole lot of information that helps add value to your clients and also helps inform people about what your products can look like and how good their patios can look like.
Mm-hmm.
Create a playbook for your clients. That was, I feel like this maybe a set of steps, and this may apply very well to Nico's business. Here's how to run some sort of like stay-at-home gala equivalent event that actually presents well, or that has the look and feel that you want. Or maybe you will be the default source for Zoom information and educating people on how to use some of these tools, and then some of the things that they can lease, rent, or even buy from you as far as equipment goes. So I'm not sure if you're selling any of your equipment or if it's just a rental service, but I think there may be some opportunity to offload the capital intensive equipment that you have now that some people may want, that you may not have the need for the next 2 to 4 months or however long this COVID thing exists. Create content that draws debate and gets people talking. I think having a following of like people on Instagram, I'm just thinking about Carly's business, or like, I think Michelle is a phenomenal photographer. We're actually showing off and getting people to volunteer some of their information. Maybe before the end of the call, Michelle, I'd love to hear an update of some of the things that you've tried since our.
I'd love to share. Our last meeting was really enlightening, and it's been a really good contribution.
Perfect. In that case, yeah, we'll double back, and I'll make sure to give you a little bit of space afterwards. But yeah, there's like how can we post things where it's like, does your shabby patio look like this? Does your Zoom call or your setup for your, I don't know, business meeting look like it was filmed on a potato? If so, here's the camera, here's the microphone, here is the screen that you want, or here's the setup that you want. We talked a lot about proactive versus reactive marketing. Reactive is someone searching for something like patio furniture or kitchen tables or bedroom furniture that you can, or like work desks kind of a thing. People will Google search for those. And as far as reactive goes, it's like people are already out there searching for it. But proactive is, how do we get people thinking about a purchase or thinking about a decision? Did you know that your patio can look as good as, here are the 3 pictures on your Facebook slider or your Instagram slider? Or here is a tour of what our kitchen tables look like. We have 3 of them that are being produced right now. Here's what they can do. Here's how big they are. So for people like Nick, who are saying that we live at the kitchen table, here's how this can now accommodate your lifestyle.
Yeah.
The last one's, so teach people to diagnose problems you can solve. I'm not sure if Nico, if there's some opportunity, maybe you can speak to it. Like, is there something that you can help people identify that your equipment and your services delivered safely and remotely, or safely somehow, that they can identify and say, oh yeah, this is actually a problem that I'm seeing? I think you're still muted.
Part of that is we actually thought about turning our warehouse into like a TV set or a kind of having a set background, which is not our, I mean, we do pipe and drape, and we do some of that kind of setup. So we thought of doing kind of more of a packaged live stream idea where we'd have a solo artist come in, or maybe a duo safely, you know, on other sides of the set there, and then record that and then give that as a way to, as kind of a pre-produced deal that they could live stream.
Do you think there are other businesses right now in Kelowna that have that set up ready to go in case someone wanted to do it?
Yeah, yes.
I think I can think of like maybe 1 or 2 places, and I think the demand for that would probably be higher than there's supply.
Potentially. I think that one of the challenges is the sort of the need or the desire for well-produced video. It's almost like when you have Coldplay, you know, playing piano just with or Dave Matthews with a little screen, and the audio's kind of shitty, and it's like nobody really cares about the really big, you know, well-produced stuff to some degree.
So has anyone been following I think there was a Justin Bieber, Celine Dion, like kind of event that happened? Has anyone watched it?
Yeah.
Someone mentioned it. I feel like there are probably a ton of people who would like to do something similar, but may lack the ability or the venue or the equipment to actually do it. Mm-hmm. So like maybe there's a need, and I'm trying to figure out, and I'll put this out to the rest of the group. How can we help Nico identify people or get in front of people who could potentially need something like this? Any suggestions?
Like local musicians, because I know that I don't know specifically about like Bieber or anything like that, but I know a lot of my friends who are like the music festival types who would be out starting those events right around this time of year have been watching a lot of live streams of DJs do their thing, and a lot of that is just sitting in front of a computer with a webcam, kind of like we're doing now, but with their stuff hooked up to their computer instead. And if they could have a larger venue to do something like that, that might be useful. But you need to have a connection to the local music industry for that. There's got to be someone though. I wouldn't know how to do it, but I know that Kelowna's got a huge like musical history as far as electronic music specifically. So there's definitely people who might be interested.
Absolutely.
I can probably list off 3 people, like bands in Kelowna, that would probably be interested. And I know one guy, if you want, I'll grab his name, but he runs and manages a lot of bands in Kelowna. And it's funny because like I've seen one band produce a song, and they did it kind of like all broken up, and then they put it all together. They did of each individual's household. But we were talking about it a while ago, how, yeah, all these like big artists are doing this, but it'd be cool if Kelowna did it as well. Because everybody's, I don't know, there's a huge music industry here. So that'd be kind of something cool for you guys to put together.
Okay. How many of you are familiar with the absolutely ridiculous music videos that OK Go, the band, does? Like the treadmill video, right? I was just thinking that the treadmill video would be something that could fit entirely perfectly well with social distancing, because none of those guys were like right next to each other for a lot of it. Now is the time to make really low budget, really wacky music videos that would catch attention, because everyone's bored sitting at home on their computers anyways.
Interesting. Okay.
Like low budget, high art with minimum physical contact. You could even do kind of like what Amanda suggested, where, you know, these people might be in different places, in different rooms, and you just sort of like do this super cut of everybody playing and then overlap the music together. I mean, I'm not, it's not my field, so I could be just spitballing bad ideas, but I think there's a seed to work on from this.
I'd like to say additionally, there's probably a lot of need. So there's a lot of companies that are obviously close their doors. Gyms and yoga studios and those kind of the like being some that could possibly gain back some of the trust and loyalty from their memberships if they were able to produce some content while their doors are closed. I know that my wife has subscribed to a lesser amount than her normal membership to 9 Round because they put out higher quality classes online. So instead of someone just going live to Facebook or live to something with their phone, actually being able to get proper audio and lighting to like a credible video source would help them retain a lot of their memberships and still be able to make an income during this time.
Cool. I just want there are a couple comments here. Amanda, you mentioned a couple things here. I think this is going back just a little ways as far as shelving for plants, combined spring and quality furniture. Okay, so some really good ideas. I'm not sure, Carly, if you're seeing that, or if Nico, if you're seeing any of these things. Yeah, Amanda also mentioned teach. I guess reach out to breweries like Redbird. Might take you up on it. So I think there's also a lot of venues that have had to cancel musicians. So you can easily see like, here are the acts that we're supposed to perform or we're supposed to come in, or maybe are in Kelowna that are probably still looking to grow their audience or grow their, so they may just need a shift and say, okay, this is still being hosted by this restaurant or this bar. And you can maybe, I'm thinking B&A specifically, just because I know they have those growlers and things that you can go by and pick up alcohol. And here is the music event that's hosted by them. So I think there's an opportunity potentially of some sort to try to reach out to musicians. So solid suggestion, Nick. I like it.
Yeah, and with Redbird, I was talking about like the movies that you're using your projector screen. I know they've got a bit of space, and I know Adam invested in some new space. But yeah, I live like down this area, and I like with my other job, we contact all the breweries all the time, and quite a few of them are closed, but they have the parking lot space in the following to maybe do something like that. Like Redbird's been doing their drive-through beer thing. I think it's like Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. So he's trying really hard to like get out there and still kind of be open without being open. But he might take you up on the movie, playing a movie.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if Amanda, you want to connect with Nico afterwards or vice versa, or just share some of the contact information, because if you're not connected, that could be a really good opportunity. Okay, some of the other things that I want to for businesses that like, and maybe Carly, this is actually a really good opportunity for you. I think a lot of people have questions that they may want more information on. Like they're not able to go into a store to buy furniture or ask questions. Have you looked into any like FaceTime calls or any Zoom calls or anything to give people better ideas of what you provide, what services you provide?
Yeah, I all very good. Definitely the phone rings a bit more, people wanting to talk. Lots of correspondence through email, back and forth with photos, but I definitely, I like the idea of the FaceTime at home. And so that I think that's something that we could, offer. I liked at the beginning of your adjusting your offering. Like, yeah.
I think a lot of people are sitting and potentially hoping that's, that we're going to return back to where things were or have, I think a lot of businesses need to do away with that thought as quickly as possible. Things will not be the same, inevitably. And if they do return back to being normal, by every prediction, it's going to be at least half a year plus. So I think getting comfortable with changing your offering, the sooner you can do it, the better. And I know that there are a lot of people who are keen to help and give you feedback on that, especially here. There's community auctions and online socializing. So I think I mentioned Shauna from Passionate Blooms, and I'll share some of her information from before, but she did really, really well. But yeah, Instagram lives, Facebook lives, but there may actually be an opportunity for you, Carly, to create furniture or create something where it's like, hey, we have this perfect kitchen table. For all of you who have been thinking about upgrading your kitchen table, here's the wood component. We can stain it to match your setup.
Right.
And then for everybody who doesn't win an auction, you can still reach out to them and be like, hey, we're still willing to sell you an equivalent piece, but it'll just take longer to do. So it could just be a really good promotional tool.
So I do have a question about that. So
Sure.
how do you reach the right people to come in for the community auction?
I have some answers, but Amanda is waving her hand. So
Okay.
Amanda, how would you do it?
For an online auction, I've seen it done before by a jewelry company in Kelowna, or not in Kelowna, in Vancouver.
Yeah.
But basically, like what she did was you put your item available for auction into like a photo album or whatever, give them a deadline, like time and date or whatever, if you're going to run it for 2 days or something, and put it like 12 noon or whatever, and put your starting bid, and then just basically people just commented below. So like, for instance, with the bracelet, she would start some of her bids at $20, and then she said increments of $1. So it would go up by $1, you know, as people bid. And I think she said like 11 p.m. Is when she closed the bid. And at 11 o'clock at night, the very last comment that was there with the highest number won. And then she'd post and tag it and stuff like that and send it to them.
Okay.
But, yeah. So that was like how she did it. It seemed really easy to do. And people would tag everybody as well. Like if they thought that they might like the bracelet and stuff. And it was just like, that's kind of how she did it. It worked really good. Like, yeah.
So is that on Instagram or on Facebook?
Facebook.
Okay.
So it was like on Facebook and on her Facebook page. I haven't seen it done on Instagram at all. If it was on Instagram, like I would just do like either the same thing with comments or do a live and then just promote it like early that you're going to be going live like a couple days prior or something. But worked good.
So, and any other suggestions? Because I think there's more to your question than I think we're touching on here. So your question is how to get people to your auction or to your event.
Yeah, so I'm, you know, and probably starting small would be better. Like a small offering, so a small side table or something that would fit into kind of everyone's home versus, you know, the table I'm sitting at may not fit in everybody's home. So yeah, I'm just sort of rethinking that. And, you know, we still have a few things because we don't no one's coming into our showroom. We have a few pieces just sort of sitting there that need the right home, and just, I guess, finding that right home or that person. So
if you have a showroom that nobody else is in, that you can have free reign on with your phone or tablet or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel people often think about, you know, the 100 reasons why something wouldn't work, as opposed to how do I use my 10,000 followers on Instagram and however many on Facebook.
Yeah.
Of all of those people, one of them was likely, or more than one of them is likely interested in the product, because otherwise they wouldn't be following you.
Yeah.
But the other part is, people who already follow you are likely connected to a lot of very similar other people who would probably also get value from what you're presenting.
Okay.
So giving them to answer your question, how do you get people to that auction? There are a ton of really good ways. Post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram. If you have an email distribution, do that. I think the biggest thing that, like, don't worry about it failing. It won't succeed in the way you expect it to, but that's a good thing, and you'll learn a lot in the process.
Oh,
So even if it doesn't work, you'll have learned enough that your next one will work a heck of a lot better. And even if you don't make an initial sale, keep at it. You have the time, and this is a really good opportunity to get better at these things.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. What I wanted to get through, I'm not going to rehash these. I'll make them available in the slides and in the video afterwards. But there's a ton of really good, there we go, some suggestions, planned sales videos that were posted. Hold on. I've literally just got everything here. That wasn't the point. There we go. I just wanted to switch through. There we go. You had asked about, and this is like how people get through. I want to talk about the digital funnel. Essentially, what we're trying to do is, if our current offering is come to our showroom or rent our equipment in Nico's case, or book us for an event, we have to change what the outcome, what the action is going to be. So we may just be like, hey, come to our auction, or book your equipment on this rental form of some sort, right? And then what we do is just work backwards and figure out, okay, how can we make people aware across all of the different channels that we use? I try to change the ink color so you guys can actually see yeah. How do we get people from different venues? So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, newsletter, word of mouth, or whatever else. How do we get people aware of the different products and services that we're offering? So if you're typically going after massive venues and large large venues to rent out equipment, we just have to think about what that action is, what we want that action to be, or what thing we're actually selling. I wanted to bring up, this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and where I think we need to rethink where we're positioning our products. So Nico, I'm not sure if you've seen this before, if you've taken any psychology courses. This will seem a little bit strange, but just follow with me just for 2 minutes, and I'll try to connect it up in a way that's that makes sense. Where would you position before COVID, where would you position your business? And have you seen this before?
Yeah, I have seen this before.
Perfect.
It is kind of I haven't related it to this, but more of it really depends on the type of business. I mean, we'll like, a lot of it is more add-ons. Some of it is they're kind of, it's like dessert.
Okay. So would you say it's like a prestige and like kind of in the upper part of this right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Carly, where would you put your furniture and your products?
Probably in the same.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. I'll get the group to try to repivot where their products and services should sit in a post-COVID world. So let's say for Nico's business, so here is events, online events coming together. Where should that sit? Or where could that sit? Anyone? I'm not sure if I'm asking the question the right way, but Cam?
For
I'll be right back.
Nico, there might be a way to do the belongingness, love, and needs, and possibly security and safety if it was under the presence of taking control.
Yeah.
So our ability to connect is now only digital, and a lot of people that are trying to connect their business to their consumer, yes, they might have a webcam, but they definitely don't often have good audio equipment. Yeah. And that's something that you uniquely are set up to help them with.
Absolutely. So what we're finding is if we can figure out how to pivot our products or services into this essential category, like make it in people's minds that this is actually an essential thing. Like my company needs to hear, our employees hear us and see us well enough. Like that becomes part of this belongingness or friendship forming, right? So it becomes a more essential need. So for furniture, for example, how can we pivot it from being this like luxury item? I'm not sure if Michelle or Amanda, if you guys want to chime in, like where could we reposition furniture?
It's a comfort need, right? And I wouldn't underestimate those psychological needs. They may be a little bit higher on the hierarchy, but especially right now, I would say that's an important need for comfort, for security. I would even argue that art is essential. It's a psychological need to uplift us. People need a lot of uplifting and stability and comfort right now.
I would fully agree. Carly, do you understand kind of what we're trying to do here as far as repivot where what your approach could be?
Yes. Just even the words you used made me there's a feeling behind it where I, initially seeing this, reading the words, I think it's an accomplishment, but it's comfort. It's your home. It's where you spend most of your time. And that makes sense.
I would actually make an argument that a lot of what we're trying to do here is put you into this like this security and safety.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not feeling like you have everything at home that you need, like the way the Maslow's hierarchy of needs works is essentially you need the base. Like, we're not looking for self-fulfillment and self-actualization if we don't have food, water, warmth, and rest. So you could even further go down and actually put this into like this like shelter kind of category. Like at the very base need, if you don't have a table for your family to gather around, right? So, and you can play with the messaging and you can play with different positioning of your products and services to try to bring them down and see what resonates.
Mm-hmm.
And what actually gets phone calls, gets inquiries, what gets people to the website, what gets engagement on social media. Like with digital marketing, we have so much visibility into people's interests. So just going back to this, like if we make someone aware that, hey, your kitchen table is actually part of, what your family needs to come together, to feel like they're safe and feel like they're included. You can actually see if there's interest and desire afterwards just by how many comments, how many likes, how many shares. So you can instantly actually check, is this working or is it not? And if it's not, remove it. If it didn't work, remove it. You can delete it.
Yeah.
And no one's ever going to know that was an attempt you made. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I think Nico's, you're like just repivoting from being like this kind of like art form in the top quadrant or the top portion of the triangle to like, we actually have this need for intimate relationships. And so I feel like there's an opportunity there to kind of repivot some of your products or services in that place. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would be interested to dig into that more.
Perfect. Okay, so before I get into the next steps, Michelle, did you want to just give a quick update as to, since the last conversation, what's changed, what you've tried?
For sure. I put out a fashion magazine and you and Tina had some really good insight into whether people are going to want print products right now. Turns out they do. We sold out in a week. I'm selling way more than I thought I would. I'm doing postal deliveries, no contact deliveries, and it's making our community so happy, and I'm making money. I'm selling canvas prints. I'm selling postcards. The wedding industry, it's pretty sunk for a while. Yeah. And I had to pivot since our last conversation and really start working on some of my side hustles, which it's actually been going incredibly well. Thank you for the support.
Perfect. I just want to be clear that we actually tried to dissuade you from it.
Oh, I know.
But here's like, so I was fully wrong, and I'm wrong about a lot of things, and I'm comfortable with that. And ultimately, I think it's what we should be looking at isn't what one person says, because there's always some asshole who has an opinion that will paralyze you from doing something. But where we should be going is to our customer base to say, do you actually want this? Is there interest? Do you like this? Do you want me to continue to do this? And they will tell you, because guys like me should not dissuade you from doing something. So I'm glad that you went out and actually found and reached out to your community. I think we talked about surveying or getting feedback from them. So I'm super happy that you did that. So well done.
Really well. And that was really good insight from you guys to talk about what may or may not work there. And I took that to heart. Definitely focusing on no contact deliveries and assuring people that it's safe. I'm not handing them a product that's going to give them a virus. That's been a really big part of reassuring people. But overall, I think it's doing a lot for people's mental health. And that's my main goal, is to uplift and inspire community. Perfect.
So after all of this, maybe Nico and Carly, what the biggest takeaway is, rather than listening exclusively to us and say, do this, go talk to your customers. Go reach out to them, send them like a group email or send a message across your social media platforms to say, hey, what do you guys need? What is it that we could be providing for you? Or if we were to come up with streaming packages for our equipment, would you be interested? And can we drop that off to you? Because we do it safely, make sure everything is disinfected before and after, and here's how we do it. I'm not sure if that was a question and why I'm pausing, but there we go.
Gave me time to write notes.
Perfect. Okay, so what I wanted to do after this is just make a list of next steps for every business, because I think that this is ultimately, hopefully, why most of you are here, and that is what should we be doing. I made a brief list of things that I think most people should start with, and that is update your homepage. So make sure you update your products and services to reflect things that are active and available now, as opposed to what it was 2 months ago. Because I think we've looked at so many different websites for companies that are still waiting to make those changes. Update your social media to make sure that people know that you're still open and available. You'd be amazed, even for the businesses that we work with that have a clear, we are open during COVID, and here's what we do. They still get phone calls, and we still get phone calls on their behalf asking, hey, are you guys still open? If I make the trek to get the thing I think I need, will someone be there to actually to open the door, to answer my inquiry? So putting that information on the homepage and on social media, and then products and services are key. Anything else that anybody can think of that we can put that we can add right away?
I think safety guarantees, especially while we're talking about Maslow and hierarchy of needs, guaranteeing your clients that you'll be taking the utmost precautions to protect their health is something that could be really important to add right now as a major concern.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, so Nico and Carly, is there anything else that you would say, like after this, that you'd want to add right away, like before the end of the day?
For myself, more clarity on the next steps, like, taking all of what you have. I'm a note taker, so I have lots of notes. Yeah, sharing that, we're still open, we're still working. Like, I like the, this is what we're doing safety wise, like maybe sharing those steps that we're taking. And then changing the message that, about being at home and being comfortable at home and where you're spending your time. You're having more meals together if you're a family. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm just making notes as you're going. So we're still open. Notice, change the message. I'm just going to abstract it to say to mirror real customer needs, as opposed to here's like one thing I will add to it is using this as an opportunity for better customer intimacy. So better customer communication. So getting out in front of them and saying, hey, what is it that you guys need? So I'll just put customer intimacy.
Yeah, and
hopefully misspelling it.
Yeah, and that in cases the FaceTime, having a call with someone that, I can go into their home virtually and, they can show me their couch or, that sort of their kitchen. Yeah.
So offer virtual consulting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Nico,
seems easy. Yeah.
It's a lot of these things when we stop overthinking them.
Yeah.
And if you can't figure out how to do it, there's probably a YouTube video, or there are companies like ours that can say, here are the 3 steps and here is the potentially free tool that you can use to do this right away. Mm-hmm. So Nico, is like offering some sort of virtual consulting, is that something you guys can do or something that you've already done?
Virtual consulting. Well, yeah, it's something sort of that we do regularly,
Okay.
always, but it's more on the consulting is more of a prep for an event. So we've done some of that, but lately it's been more just free. We don't get paid for it now because it's more helping nonprofits or helping people who are wanting to do fundraisers or gatherings do their thing.
Has that resulted in any business like giving away that kind of value?
Nope, but like not in the last little bit.
Mhm.
But we want to be. That's more of a long game deal. It's like doing what you're doing. You're offering a free service here, showing people what you do. So ultimately, when people have that question, they're going to come to you. So it's kind of being good boys and, you know, doing the right thing.
There we go. Is that be a good boy or girl? I'm going to attribute that to Nico.
Good boy.
So there we go. Not to be facetious, I'm just having fun, but yeah, okay. So actually presenting value and making sure that people know that you care and that you're there and that you're present. And one of the first clients that we had that canceled their marketing retainer with us, he said something. He's like, look, but as the last thing, can you guys please put an update on our website that I have this equipment, I'm standing idle, that I can actually do grocery deliveries or deliveries for seniors, and I'll do it and make sure in a safe way. He's like, I want people that when this comes back, just to be top of mind and be there. I'm like, that is phenomenal, a phenomenal understanding of who your customers are and how to provide value. So absolutely. So yeah, that's a great suggestion. Any other suggestions that anybody else could wants to come up with?
One thing, I don't know if we can apply it into next steps or if it applies for every business, but one thing that I've noticed that has been like beneficial just to people and people remembering businesses is just adding some like positivity to your postings or your videos. Like for instance, a really good one is Canoe Coffee Roasters. So they didn't just sit there and be like, hey guys, like we're closed, but we're still like doing the whole COVID steps type of deal and being like, we're still open for business. Instead, the guy, he said like, we're open for delivering coffee beans and stuff, but he filmed a couple funny videos of him hucking coffee beans at people's places. And he's like, it's okay, I'm maintaining social distance. Like he wasn't really for doing it for real, but it kind of just like makes you giggle a little bit. And it like, it's very uplifting, kind of like we're all under, like, especially for business owners, everybody's under a lot of stress, everybody's doing their best, but to provide just that like tiny bit of like, hey, you know, we're strong, we got this, and we're not going to let this bring us down. That just like, I don't know. I love watching Canoe's videos now because they're funny and their coffee's good and I'll remember it. So
there we go. So now this many people have now learned about Canoe, whether they were following them or not, just because of that's actually hilarious. But yeah. So be positive and take the opportunity to be memorable. So
yeah, like just inserting those little positive moments.
Okay, memorable or noteworthy, maybe let's call it, or maybe share-worthy. So like just by virtue of you saying it, now I'm going to go check them out because that sounds hilarious. So I'm in. Very cool. Okay, so I feel like as far as next steps go, for a week worth of stuff to do, is this enough? We could continue kind of like hammering this up, but I also don't want to overwhelm.
Can I add be realistic?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm having a really bad habit of being overly optimistic, as in like, this is going to be over in a couple of weeks. And it's just not realistic. I appreciate what you said about being prepared for this to go on 6 months plus. Okay.
Prepared, yeah, for this to go on longer than is fun.
Yeah, I'm not mentally prepared for that, for one. So that's a good weekly goal.
I think that's a quintessential entrepreneurial thing. We have to underestimate how long things are going to take or how much effort they're going to take, because otherwise no entrepreneur would ever do what they're doing.
I come to you for the realism.
Then, oh, this is, maybe we should just end things right there. I'm an eternal optimist and eternally positive too. So, but I'm glad you get that from me. All right, so this has gone a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I did want to wrap this up. So I'll post the slides into the Facebook group. Carly and Nico, did you guys find us there, or where did you find us?
I found you guys on Facebook through your wife.
Perfect, wonderful. In that case, I will post information there. If you if you want to share it with anybody, by all means, please do.
Absolutely.
We'll be running this every Monday at noon. So if you guys want to come back and give us an update, I would love to hear if any of this was useful and if any of this has actually been implemented to see. And then we can also share links directly back to your business to see if anyone from our community can help, can give you feedback or potentially even business.
Very good.
Wonderful. Okay, so thank you everyone. And yeah, thank you for joining, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks very much.
always. Thank you, Will.
All the best.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, everybody.
See you guys.
We stand up fierce